Hi, I'm Max Clark. This is 20 Minutes Max, and we're going to talk about the ultimate cheat code for your IT and your help desk and your operations. And if you're running Windows, that answer is what we call DaaS, terminal services, virtual desktop, desktop as a service, Azure Virtual Desktop, Citrix, Horizon, VMware Horizon. I mean, like Zen Desktop, VMware Horizon. I mean, it doesn't matter what the technique, what the terminology is, what the branding is. The important thing is DaaS is awesome. And DaaS is the ability for you to virtualize your desktops and not purchase expensive computers and not have to go touch those expensive computers or have those expensive computers get, have to be replaced every 3 years or be broken or have to be updated one at a time or have to worry about data that's being downloaded to them. So DaaS gives you all these wonderful advantages. So there's DaaS, and DaaS is Windows. So if you're running Windows, think DaaS. Windows, DaaS, Windows, DaaS, Windows, DaaS. Okay. So then the next one that we have is we talk about, people running Mac, Mac OS. I'm a Mac user. I've been a Mac user for a very, very long time, which is funny because I started my career as a Windows certified engineer, but, I came over to Mac with the OS 10 and the, creation of this Unix subsystem, which was just awesome for me. There are some options to virtualize Mac. It is not common. It's not something that you probably want to go down the path on. It's not the operating system isn't set up for it. It's not equipped for it. People that co-locate and give these, like Mac Minis and Mac Studios, in a data center that you can connect to, with different protocols, it works, but whatever. Right? It's probably not what you want. Like if you've got a Mac-based fleet and you're trying to do this, unless you're actually literally doing iOS development in Xcode. Okay, let me actually back up. If you're doing iOS development in Xcode, then yes, you probably want to do this because you get faster compile times, you can do all these sorts of things, and you get virtual. If you're not doing iOS development in Xcode and you just want to virtualize a desktop or provide access to a desktop for your team, you probably don't want to virtualize a Mac, or you can't even virtualize a Mac desktop. You probably don't want to provide remote access to Mac desktops for this. Just use a Windows DaaS-based platform. Save yourself a lot of aggravation. Or you can do number 3. And number 3 is an interesting thing that's happening. Number 3 is Google Workspace. Specifically, it's actually not Google Workspace. What am I talking about? It is Google Chrome OS. Now, this is the most fascinating Trojan horse played out over so many years that we've kind of witnessed unfolding. And Google Chrome owns the desktop, the browser. It is the dominant browser on the desktop. Now, on mobile devices, if you're on iOS, you're using Safari. Like maybe you're weird and you put Chrome on, but Chrome is using the Safari rendering engine, so you're still using Safari. And you've got Chromium-based derivatives like Microsoft Edge, which is still a Chrome browser. But anyways, okay, so we've got Chrome. Chrome owns the desktop. So almost everything application-wise is moving to a browser-based experience, right? So, there's still thick clients, applications like, if you're using Google Workspace for your email, it's possible that some people are using Superhuman, to interact with it. Fun thing about Superhuman is it's an Electron interface, so you can actually run it inside of the browser versus, or you could run it as a client, right? As an application, and there's calendar apps, there's all these sorts of things, there's extensions on top of Workspace, like maybe running Front, which has advantages and disadvantages. Anyways, the point there is chances are what you interpret as your operating system being Mac OS isn't really your operating system. Your operating system is really the browser that you're using to interact with all the applications that you're using on your desktop. So as more and more applications go from being installed on the computer to being browser-delivered applications, those browser-delivered applications are being delivered via Chrome. So what's the actual operating system, right? I'm recording this in a podcasting platform running inside of the Chrome browser. Okay, so you've got the Chrome browser, and let's go back to our... So now we've got the Chrome browser, which is the de facto UI application interacting with all these websites. That is the dominant browser running on every single desktop. It's running, it's a dominant browser on Windows, it's a dominant browser on Mac, etc. Google came out with this thing called Chrome OS a while back, and Chrome OS is exactly what it sounds like. It is the Chrome browser upscaled, and okay, it's not. Don't attack me. Fine, whatever. It's technically a Linux, like this Linux thing. But for all intents and purposes, what you need to think about is just think about it as like a Chrome browser running on a desktop, right? It's a desktop version of the Chrome browser. Google has slowly been giving us functionality and things like the ability to run Android apps inside of Chrome OS, which is pretty cool because it gives you a much wider base of applications. But what's neat about this thing is now you can give your company, your team, desktop environment based on the browser that they're already using to interact with it that includes an MDM functionalities, it includes a secure boot functionality, that includes a secure restore app, functionality that is centrally managed. So if you're on Workspace, you can license Chrome OS Enterprise and you can manage these things at scale. And the secret, like this undiscovered secret, is it actually is good. Like, this isn't like some oh, it's not good kind of thing. Now, what gets bad with it is a good majority of the hardware being sold for Chrome OS is garbage. Like, I don't care what it is. If you're going out and you're buying a laptop for $300, it's garbage. It's garbage. Don't buy $1,000 Chrome laptops. Or sorry, $300 Chrome laptops. Like, if you're buying laptops for people, actually give them real laptops. The quality is much better. They'll be much happier. You'll be much happier. Now, Chrome OS doesn't do client server or terminal services in the way that like a Windows DaaS environment does. So, you still have this operating system that's running, applications being delivered. But if you're using browser-based applications to interact with everything, well, your data is resident and maintained in your actual, whatever those applications are and wherever they actually reside. So why do we care about this? Well, we care about this we care about this for lots of reasons, but I'm gonna sum this up here in a really kind of succinct way. We care about this in terms of productivity. We care about this in terms of downtime. And when I say downtime, I'm talking about like if you have employees and you are paying them to work and to do something for you. And if they can't work and do something for you, you're paying them to sit around and do nothing. So downtime is very expensive. It's a soft cost. We talk about it for a long, long time. Nobody really actually qualifies it. It doesn't really we're paying this many people this average salary, and so therefore for every hour of outage, yada, yada, yada. But the reality is you're paying for loss of productivity, but you're also paying for loss of capacity and loss of future, leverage, right? So like if you're a CTO and you're trying to produce product for your business to actually generate revenue for your business, if you lose all of your developer pipeline, like people literally can't code for you, what happens if you lose 2 weeks or 3 weeks or 4 weeks of time? Like what? Let's talk about it in sprints. What happens if you lose 1 to 2 sprints worth of productivity? Yeah, you still have to pay all your developers and they're really expensive, but what does that mean for you in terms of like your organizational plans and what the business is trying to actually achieve? So all these things, we can get into it. We can talk about it from like, it's more efficient for your IT team to manage. It's easier to onboard and offboard people. We can talk about it from like, cost, shipping equipment. We can talk about all these different things, but what we really need to talk about is protecting and mitigating risk and using these as a technique to lower and mitigate risk to maintain consistency and predictability and what the business can actually do. And how people working for the business can actually operate and maintain. That's just a little follow on. If you haven't looked at Chrome OS, it's awesome. The other thing that's really nice about Chrome OS is they now certified and have a little USB thumb drive installer, so you can take your aging fleet of computers. They support almost everything. It's pretty incredible, and you can put this drive in and you can reboot the box and you can end up with a Chrome OS on the desktop. And this PC that maybe aged out 5 or 6 years ago will now work perfectly fine for many years to come because it's a relatively lightweight operating system. It's not doing much. It just needs to give you a browser interface and you're good to go. So I don't even remember where I started this, honestly. I kind of got into a tangential rant, which happens sometimes. Sorry. Anyways, I'm Max Clark. That's maybe about 10 minutes, but it's 20 minutes max. And I hope this helps you.